Hello and welcome everyone. It's Alisha Brasher here at Cosmic Gateway. I am joined by my beautiful soul fam here. We've got Nick, we've got Donovan, and we've got Anna. Thank you and welcome, guys. Thank you for being here for another roundtable. So before we get into it, obviously we've got a lot of things to cover, a lot of things to talk about. I almost want to title this one Ding Ding, Third Lockdown in Melbourne, as we enter another restriction. I think, what is it, phase 2, Anna?
Stage four, 5-day lockdown.
See, I don't even know. May as well be
you don't need
stage
to know.
56. I really don't know, don't care. But that is happening. But more importantly and more excitingly, we have the Vitraya Meet-Up in Melbourne on the 20th of February. So next Saturday, from 1 to 4. We'll put the details in the description box. So if you're in Melbourne or keen to head to Melbourne and you would like to hang out with some of us, we're going to have myself, Anna, Nick's going to be there, Jen's coming down, we're going to have Dale there as well. So it's going to be an amazingly rich afternoon with soul family and connection and like minds. So if you're interested and you would like to come and join us, I will put all the details of where you can inquire or sign up. You can contact Anna directly at Vitraya to register your interest there and your placement. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But guys, how are you? What is going on?
I just want to add as well, Joe from Awakening to the Light Within and Donovan will be teleporting themselves on the day. So
absolutely.
They can't stay for long, but they're coming.
They are coming. They will be with us. They're always with us. And my God, can you imagine by the end? I swear to God, by the end, I know I harp on this all the time. But, imagine if we can have teleportation parties by the end of this year. I mean, really, it's a stretch in my mind. It's going to make things so much easier. But anyway.
Yeah.
No airports, no long, flight times, just zip, zip, zip. Even if we can have, anyway, let's not go there. I'll get my rant. Donovan, I know that you had some really epic downloads before we got on this call, and I'm super keen and excited to see what you have to say about the numbers of today as we record this on the 12th of Feb. Do you want to jump in? Because I know I'm excited to see what you've got to share with us.
Yeah, thanks. And it happens every time I'm about to come on with you guys, as I told you. I'm still in it. That's why I'm going to have to go live after this and explain even more. But just what you were saying about teleporting, I had a dream this week of flying cars and getting picked up in one.
Yes.
And then inadvertently that day, I think it was, I heard someone speaking about the new technologies that will be released if Jigsaw and Asara actually happens, and what we think is going to happen, that, there's all this talk about free energy technologies and flying transportation technologies all being released, all the way from, they say, so like air travel for the collective,
yes.
And then right down to and then public transport, which I thought was really interesting. That was mentioned, that the next level would be new technologies in public transport, right down to personal vehicles. We're talking flying vehicles, right?
Yeah.
We're talking new types of technology where it's just like instant travel, right down to like a bike, like a flying bike. So,
hovercraft, all that sort of stuff. I know, like I say this, and a lot of people laugh at me when I say this, but I'm dead serious. It's just how they interpret it. I can laugh it off or whatever, but like I've been on the verge of needing car for a while, and I'm like, I'm just holding out because I know that, you know, when Ascension, when disclosure drops, when new technologies come out, I know that there's going to be, you know, so many different types of transportation, and I'm like, can my car just hold out just one more year? Come on. And I was with Ana today, and it was making a weird sound. I was like, no, you've just got to hold on. You've just got to hold on.
Just turn the music right up so we don't have to hear it.
and that just, can I just hold out? Isn't that so much the vibration of right now? Can I just hold it? Like, it's like hanging in there. Can you hang in there just a bit longer, not lose your hope and your faith at the moment? Because there's so much happening where people are starting to just go, they're either completely confused,
yeah,
or they're hearing stuff that's the opposite to what they believed was going to take place or happen on a certain date at a certain time, but in a certain way. And people are going, getting really disappointed. And then they're having to rebuild themselves, find their hope and faith again. I'm talking to people around the world that are going, I just don't know if I can. It's like we're in a war, and they're like, I just don't think I've got the energy to get through this anymore. It's just too hard. I just don't think I can hang on. But what you said in the coding in your words is just hang in there. And just thinking specifically on that point, it's mind-blowing to think about flying cars and flying cars, but the new technologies. I'm trying to think of the right words of the type of technology. Dale would say in a second. I don't know if you guys can remember the type of technology that we're talking about using.
Anti-gravity.
Thank you. That's it. Anti-gravity travel. It's really mind-blowing to think, how can we go from where we are here driving a petrol car in this heavy, dense situation we're in, all the way to that more sort of quantum travel. But if you think about it, look how far we've come in 50 years. Like horse and cart, literally, to flying in, you know, these modern day aircraft that we fly in, and Lear jets and all that. So if we could do that in 50 years, it's not so crazy to think that flying vehicles with anti-gravity could be just around the corner, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So it is about holding the line. So do you want me to go to the number codes I just got downloaded here?
Waiting.
Because it really explains it. And the beauty of doing this on the phone is I can swap my camera around. Oh, look, I'm a light. I am gone.
Are you sure you're not
Nick,
a cat?
Hey, Nick, I've turned into the light, Nick. Just like
yeah, it's follow the light. Yeah.
This is how I remember you, Donovan.
Yeah.
Here's a very old picture of me.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. So here it is. This is today's code, today's date. Now, what's interesting is that we were going to record earlier in the week, but we changed the date, remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
We were going to do, what were we going to do? We were going to do Wednesday or something. And then something, as usual, divinely kicked in and went, no, it's not today. The energy's not right.
Yeah.
Look at what we've got here. So if you can see clearly, I just quickly drew this out as I started getting the download, because I saw it in my mind and I went, hang on, whoa, this is palindromic. So it's a palindrome, which means it's a mirrored number. So 2021 backwards, 2021. So, right? So it's a mirrored number, okay? So 22 is a mirrored number. You look at it, if you try to write it backwards, you get the same number. That's a palindrome, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see from the 20, so within the code, we also get 2 lots of 202 on either side. We're sitting within the 11 gateway, right? We've also got the 2020 vibration still present. Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. We've got this amazing twin code. 202 for me is one of the divine twin codes, which I'm going to be talking about in my live later, but I won't get into that now. And then we've also got this interesting code where, so 2021, are we having a repeat of history from the year 1202? Now, what's blowing my mind? So can you see the mirroring? You guys can see that, right?
Yeah.
You're looking forward, looking back, you get the same code. So there's something very, very vibrationally special about today. And what I want to say before I go and talk about the year 1202 is, so what it feels like is, right, we've got two swans sitting in the middle, right? And what do swans represent? What do swans represent? They represent peace and tranquility and stillness, right? And what I was going to say about people feeling stuck, it's like we're in this 0 point, this midpoint here of feeling like nothing's moving forward, nothing's moving back. Now, I don't know if you remember in the last round table, I've still got my notes here. I was talking about, it feels at the moment like it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But if you go 2 forward and 1 back, right? And then 2 forward and 1 back and 2 forward and 1 back, you're still slowly moving forward. But this is just like, you're not moving forward, you're not moving back, you are still. So what this actually provided to me was this feeling and this vision of a storm, right? So a hurricane or a twister storm, okay? So as you all know, wherever you are, is as the storm approaches, the wind's going in one direction, then you come to the eye of the storm, everything goes completely still, and then the next minute it's going in the opposite direction, right? See the arrows?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's almost like, and I have been saying this for a bit, it's been coming for a while, it's like we're in the eye of the storm. And I know that a lot of certain letters of the alphabet followers will know that we talk a lot about the storm at the moment.
1
right?
and 7.
Yeah, so 17. So there's this sense that, okay, we've hit the eye of the storm, and it's like do you know what it feels like to me, this code? It feels like it's been going one way, and we're talking since 1202, right? It's been going in one direction. It's about to completely flip and go in a whole new direction. Okay, it's going to go so with everything, whether you're looking on a macro or a micro level, things have been going along a certain way, and it's like it's going to completely flip and go. So people that have been following what's happening on the theatre of the world stage right now, keyword theatre movie, right? It's like it's been looking like it's going in a particular direction, right? Impeachment, things like that, whatever. Oh my God, is this guy really the president? That sort of stuff. And then we're in this eye of the storm. It's about to completely turn in the favor of the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And I think I don't really need to explain what I mean about that in the current world stage stuff.
Yeah.
But what's blowing me away is I just quickly, like 5 minutes before we got on, I quickly Googled 1202. And it's really interesting. In 1999, this was the day the US, in 1999 on this day, US President Bill Clinton was acquitted by the Senate in his impeachment trial. I did not know that.
Wow.
That's really, really interesting, okay? But the one that really blew me away, and I'll flick back to my camera now. We'll just keep the code up. The other thing about on this day, there was a very famous, world famous earthquake in Syria in 1202. It was one of the most significant things that happened in that year. The other thing is that there was I think it was the ending of a war called something to do with the Great Zara, which was the Fourth Crusade, the ending of the Fourth Crusade. Now, when I saw the word crusade, I'm like, this is what the light workers and the light bringers and the warriors and the soldiers are feeling at the moment. Our soldiers, right? As you'll talk more about, Alisha. It's like, yeah, we're on a crusade, but we're tired and we're exhausted, and we know we're about to go, we're in the battle of the lockdowns and the whatever, the scamdemic and all the rest. We're tired and we need rest because things are about to turn in our favor. Our crusade and our mission is moving forward now.
Yeah.
right? But we're in the eye of the storm. That's what I'm getting from this stuff. So what
And
does
how
that bring to you guys?
interesting. I just want to add to that, because obviously we've just hit the new moon on the same day. The new moon took place this morning at 6:05 a.m. Melbourne time on that same date. And those numbers, and then we've got the 6 planets in Aquarius as we speak. And I was looking at the astrology yesterday, just before a session. I sort of got intuitive hit to go look up something, and there was conjunction between Jupiter and Venus. And to me, it was like love. It's an expansion of love energy that's coming through. But I agree with you, Donovan, because I feel like everyone's exhausted from fighting, whether it's fighting on a physical level in, your work, in lockdowns, your family, your friends, whatever, or if you're fighting in the astral realms, because we know that this is a multi-dimensional shift, and the cleanup's happening on every level. And some people are doing both. So, it is, I've been feeling for a while that there's a big group of people who are being prepped and being prepared to stand and hold strong, moving through sort of April time onwards. Like, I keep getting this thing around after Easter. That's when we're going to start to see a lot of the big changes start to happen. So it's like between now and then, it's like hold strong, hold steady, get as much rest as you can, and prepare yourself on every level. I don't know if that resonates at all.
Yeah, 100%. And what you were saying too about why people are so tired and exhausted. Look at all the duality vibration of all this two energy. Yeah. It's like duality has hit such an extreme point. It's like, and we spoke about this earlier in the year, about it's like the year where you sort of, the challenge is to be able to sit neutral and in peace and in tranquility like the swan, while you've got the water under you, which is very turbid, and you sit on top of that water very serene. And okay, this is what I see. This is two swans, right? But duality's hit this intense level right now, where it's like, we always said this year, it's almost like you can't sit on the fence. You've got to commit to something. You've got to be that which you want to see in the world. What you want to see in others, you have to embody that in yourself. So it's such a challenge, and that's why it's very exhausting. But guess what, Anna? Today's date equals 10.
I was going to say that, Donovan. I said, what you're talking about feels very much like 1010.
Yes.
That's so for those of you guys that don't know, Donovan and I have been chatting about 1010 because I fell in love with 1010, and that's another story. But Donovan, actually, when was it, Donovan? You posted about it, I think 2012?
Yes, 2012? Correct. Yeah.
So a long time ago, he actually posted about his, I guess, his version or download about 1010. And, I got 1010 tattooed on my wrist. And Donovan shared that with me only last week. So that was pretty cool. And the whole time you've been talking about, I'm thinking, are you going to bring in 1010? Because this feels like 1010.
Well, you know what? Can I just say, the whole time Donovan was going through the numbers, I was looking at the beautiful, like, structure that he drew. Yeah, that one there. And I was like, oh, that's going to be Anna's next tattoo.
Well, we've already spoken about that.
We have. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and look, Anna spoke about her next tattoo being 1212, right? And that's a mirrored version of 1212.
Yeah.
So this is all great, and I could talk about, okay, look what we're seeing. That's fine, but it's also about, but how has that got any use to us, right? And the point being that people will know they're receiving repeating number messages in different forms, varying forms, for a reason, and they're specific to you. They're unique, right? And when we talk about synchronicity, we've reached a point of vibration on this planet right now where the layer between, divine communication and just normal 3D dense communication is very thin. So we're able to access cosmic codes, literally, light codes, light language, cosmic codes, number codes. They're all very much the same thing. And I just want people to understand that, you know, because some people freak out when you're getting those repeating number sequences. It is really important to tap in with yourself and say, what's happening within me right now? That's because this is trying to tell me something. It's trying to give me a message, you know? So, you know, and we spoke about the high vibrational nature of the number 1010 and how you've got 1, the light, and 0, the 0 point source, and that people that are vibrating a certain vibration will receive the 1010 code because they're very in touch with their connection to source, because they're really aligned. And it's a very high vibrational code you can be given. But the point being, if you're receiving your repeating number sequences, it really is about tapping in deeply within yourself and say, look, it's trying to help me. It's trying to tell me something. And okay, great, you can go get help, but try to be your own decoder and your own guru and your own, you know, mentor by just tap into the number and say, well, how is that relevant? Think of it from any and every perspective. When was I born? You know, why would that number be significant to me? What number house do I live at? What number car plate do I drive every day, which I carry as a vibration around with me, and everybody sees it and they experience me under that number vibration, right? Or you wake up in the middle of the night and you're incessantly getting 222, but which, by the way, most people have in the last couple of weeks or last month.
The 222s are everywhere.
Yeah, and you can see it in that code. It's just insane, like the 222. So it's about duality. It's about balancing up. It's also about justice, the 2 scales, right? Getting justice. We're all feeling that, like, we want justice. We want the evil, sick, awful people on the world to stop doing what they've been doing to humanity, and we want what we all want for each other, you know. It's the duality, it's the illusion, and it's the confusion. It's like, I think reality is one way, but it could be quite the opposite. So it's all that. So that's why I think the 222 has been coming in really thick and fast for people. Sorry, guys, I don't want to talk too much, but yeah, you go, Nick. You're going to say something.
No, you keep going. I'm in awe.
Yeah, but thank you, but it's not me. That's the thing. It's not me. It's actually you all talking back to yourselves, because I'm a reflection. That's the 2, is the mirror, the reflection of yourself back at yourself. So I just urge people to gently and lovingly actually accept that you have the ability to, that you have knowings and understandings that you may not realize, and not to immediately jump to, oh, I'll go look it up or I'll go ask someone else. You've actually got all the answers within you. And I know I'm pretty repetitive because I've said this probably 100 times with you, Alisha, on everything we've ever done. I always bring that message. I'm like, if you get the codes, go within, work yourself within yourself first, anything that comes. And as we know, with intuition, for people that are developing that next level of communication within themselves and within other realms and dimensions, the first 3 seconds, whatever comes to you, don't discount it, because that's usually your higher self talking to you.
Yeah.
The first thing, and no matter how ridiculous you think you get, oh, I thought of a lollipop. What does that mean? Well, it might relate to your childhood and how, you know, how you get rewarded in your life, or how you're not rewarding yourself enough. I mean, it's very quick and simple to see deeper into a message that could seem so menial and so ridiculous. If you just think a little deeper and work a little deeper on it, it actually can represent so much, like dream interpretation.
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm visualizing our Zoom webinar of interpreting numbers 101 with Donovan.
Yeah.
It's all right, I'll speak to you after. Like, I can see it now.
Cool.
Because you know what, like, I agree with you, Donovan. Like, I'm very much like that when it comes to interpreting, you know, colors or symbols or, you know, messages and things like that. But I think people like you and I have been doing that for a long time. Plus, we're both Pisces, so it kind of comes innate to the nature of the Piscean. But you know, sometimes it's and when people are new to it, you know, it's it's instinctual to go outside of self, because that's how do you learn in a 3D reality? You learn from external, you learn from schools, you learn from teachers, you learn from parents, etc. But we, we're coming into this age of Aquarius, and this age of which is all about seeking from within. And I think once you can stop and go, oh wow, I have all the answers, and really, really trust that, the more you do that, the more innate it becomes more natural, it becomes more but it's about breaking the habit too of going instantly like out. It's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to sit with that. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was always taught the 4-second rule, 3 4 whatever comes initially in that time is intuition, higher self. Once you go beyond that, that's when your mind kicks in. So
yeah. And interesting with all that 2 energy, two rules: intuition.
Yes.
It's the inner mediator, the inner counselor, the one that how you speak to yourself and how you counsel yourself and nurture yourself and look after yourself, right? It's the mediator. It's also the counselor. So it makes sense. The other thing I just quickly didn't cover about the 11. Why have I brought the 11 here? Now, if you have a look, we've got this code, right? The quadruple 2202, right? 2222 with double connections of source, right? Inner gifts is the 0. Inner gifts is your higher self, your God self, your inner source, right? With the 2. So, but look at today's day. It's surrounded by what's it surrounded by, right? What have we been seeing playing out? It's inside a gateway, an 11. It's a fence. It's a gate. What's around the freaking Capitol and the White House at the moment? A gate, a fence. What's what's lockdown all about? It's about keeping you at home, keeping you between the walls. It's all here.
Donovan,
you can see it all.
Donovan, do you know what came through in a session yesterday? Was pearly gates, the entrance to the pearly gates, entering into an era of peace.
That is.
It kind of resembles that drawing you've got there with the numbers.
Gorgeous.
I just yeah.
Exactly, because see how this sort of draws itself inward towards the center, toward your center, right? And when we do talk divine relationships, divine counterparts, divine relationships, right? We're always talking about it's the balancing of the masculine and feminine energies perfectly within you. Become your own twin in order to attract your twin, right? Become fully balanced in your masculine and feminine energies in order to be fully balanced. A palindromic number is a fully balanced number.
Again?
On a palindromic number is fully balanced on all sides. So it really is about becoming fully integrated in your masculine and feminine qualities in order to find that stillness and that peace and that connection to the source within you, so you can step through the pearly gates that is your inner heaven. Heaven is available to you through your inner world, and then expanded out and manifested out into your life. And your outer manifestation, which is your body, your personality, your ego self. And ego is not wrong. Ego is what makes you unique. Without an ego self, we'd all be the same. We'd all just be source. We need to have an ego self, right? This is why we need duality. We need the divine inner understanding of that we are a divine soul in a human body, but we need the duality of the physical presence manifested into form in order to express our divinity. But we need the ego self, because without the ego self, we can't have all different personalities and uniqueness and different gifts. And not one person out of 8 billion people on the planet is exactly the same. No one's ever been you, and no one's ever going to be you ever again. So it's about loving
not
all
even
that
a
you are,
Right.
yeah. No, well, yeah, even exactly, like divinely speaking, you know, if you try to copy something, as cosmic law would have it, something goes wrong. If you try to make something exactly the same, and you play with DNA and RNA and all those, you know, down to the quantum cosmic level, and you try to mess with it, something goes wrong. We know that. We've seen that, right? Because everything's divinely orchestrated and designed perfectly as it is. But in order for you to have your uniqueness in the world expressed out and manifested, you need to be able to accept that you are all vibrations. You are love and fear. You are, you know, this is why we don't make our emotions wrong and whatever we're experiencing. We just love whatever we're experiencing because it is a part of our experience. It is a part of us. You know, anger is a part of learning what the expression of anger is, just, you know, unresolved sadness, you know, and, you know, it's like, it doesn't matter. There's nothing negative about negative emotions. They're actually just information trying to tell you what's unexpressed or can be manifested in its mirrored form, in its, you know, unmanifest form into manifestation. So if that makes any sense, I probably raved a bit, but yeah.
I love it. I could listen to you all day, Donovan.
That was phenomenal, Donovan.
Mate, much of what you said there is like you're literally doing this for me. So to start off with, I've seen those codes since last Thursday everywhere, like
awesome.
Constantly. Like the minute I saw you show that image, I'm like, yeah, I've seen all those different combinations absolutely everywhere. But the 222, crazy, 1111, and 222 as well. Just and the two, I'm looking at it all. It's all been there and hyper relevant to what's going on in my situation at the moment, which at some stage in the future I'll be able to elaborate on. But mate, that's you've actually, like, in doing that, you've actually helped me a lot. Hey, like, my heart's racing. Like, you've sort of reminded me of certain things and trusting myself, and like, that helps me continue to connect dots with what's going on as well.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And you just brought up the key word. Alisha said the same word. I didn't mention it earlier. 2 actually rules trust.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you think 2 is relationships, you and another, right? So it's relationships. The foundation of a good relationship is based on, I have to be able to trust you, because if I don't trust you, we don't have much. We don't have anything really. If we don't have trust, it's foundational. But then if we bring that inward to within ourselves, we must be able to trust ourselves, even when, like what we're all experiencing now, is when doubt crops up. It's like doubt's just there in order to drive you back to your inner truth, to say, well, what do I trust? You know?
Yeah. And I think that's
am I allowed
key.
to trust myself? Yes, of course I am.
I think that's key in that refinement of self process, that if you don't fully trust yourself, how can you fully trust another? Do you know what I mean? Like, it kind of goes hand in hand. And when you have your own trust issues, then you're going to be really skeptical of others, right? But then, you know, you can go too far and you can be too trusting. You know, you kind of got to find that balance, that two vibrational balance of discernment and trust and own knowledge of self, I guess.
See, the funny thing about that is that this week I've started to, because, like I say, I'm always skeptical of everything, and all of a sudden I've shifted from being skeptical to trusting, and like really trusting. So trusting in the experiences I'm having, trusting in the pretty clear guidance and information I've been receiving. So
you're so lucky, Nick, because having been a skeptic first, I'm really quite envious of you being a skeptic first and then becoming trusting, because I was too trusting first, and I've had to learn to be more skeptical. So having had my journey in that direction, I've made a fool of myself 1,000 times over and look like a complete gullible. And I did a little short live on this week about how I'm either going to look like one of the most gullible people that ever lived, or I'm actually going to come out the other end and people are going to go, wow, you actually knew what, like, you seem to get some things right. And I'll be like, yeah, because I trusted. But I'm learning it in the opposite direction to you, Nick. I'm tend to be too trusting before I question things. And whereas I'd rather be more skeptical until I, find my place, where I'm going to sit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's beautiful. See how we all manifest the journey in different ways, and it's perfect for you, for your soul. Whatever you're here to work on. And I mean, we've all got an element of trust that we've got to work on. I mean, it's one of those key things. Everyone in their journeys have some key things that we all share that we got to work on. One is trust of self and loving self and accepting divine self, before we can start to manifest it in our relationships in our life, So yeah, it is beautiful. And I'll talk more on the divine counterpart, divine relationship aspects of these vibrations, because they're very powerful. And I loved hearing from you, Nick, this week, that you have started to move into more openness about the concept of divine partnership, which is something you're in the presence of, because a few of us here have had some experiences in that area. And it's really nice to come across someone who's not, hasn't been in that spiritual realm of, oh, my twin flame, that, right? You're coming in fresh. So you've got this beautiful, fresh energy that we can really benefit from. Yeah, that's really cool.
Can I just point out as well, Alisha, you were saying before, that you can be a bit too over trusting, and Donovan was saying that, Nick coming in, I can't seem to find words today.
Skeptical.
Yeah.
Skeptic. Yeah.
It's like numerology and palindrome or whatever that is. So I feel like me and Nick would come from the same energy where we've had to learn to trust, whereas you and Donovan have been too over trusting. So I'm looking at my screen now, and it's just the balance of that and the masculine.
I was thinking that when Donovan was talking about that, and I think a big part of my journey was I just love people, and I always see the best in people. I have the ability to see the highest qualities of people, and their divine blueprint. That's what I do for my work, right? And I think here we go. That can be misinterpreted a lot, because I think people think that I can be naive or I don't see reality. I see reality, but I think that there's people that need to be able to, we were talking about this today, Anna, there's people who have to be able to see the divine or sovereign blueprint of someone's potential, of what their full embodiment can look like, to be able to hold space for that, for them to step into that on their own. Whereas there's the people in the reverse who will see everyone's flaws and they will see everyone's quirks and aspects for development or refinement, and everyone has their own abilities. And I think I just, I have a love for humanity. I have a love for people. I truly want to see people thrive and win in doing their mission, and that's what I get the most passionate about. And oh my goodness. and I think that can be a hard journey, because when you're like that, then you can be taken advantage of, you can be misinterpreted, and then if you're a bit soft and sensitive, like I know Donovan and I are, then you get hurt. And so then you get on this path of then shutting down and then having to learn to trust again. At least that's what has been my experience. Okay, Donovan.
No, hang on. Can I just quickly expand, because I can see Donovan's beautiful drawing, and I'm thinking, is that my next tattoo? But what you said today, Leash, about, you know, some people that can really pick up on like really intense, it would seem like intense judgment of other people. The way you flipped that for me today, I actually had a nap thinking about you. So, and what you said, because it made sense. So for those of you guys watching, and it's not about, you know, judgment, it's actually something bigger than that, which Alisha will expand later on.
Well,
but anyway.
I mean, just to quickly expand, and I think I learned this through my own experience, and I've worked with people who tend to have this ability, and I think it is their ability not to, it can be really uncomfortable, you know, as you mentioned, it's really uncomfortable when you are around someone and you can see their quote unquote flaws, you know, their bad aspects, their bad qualities. And I think that, and when I kind of learned that that was something I you know, went through a phase, a very short phase actually, where I was having that, and I realized that I was tapping into the things that people don't like about themselves. It wasn't that I wasn't judging, it wasn't that I was judging them, I was picking up at their own harsh judgments and self-critic aspects of themselves. And so I think it's a matter of, like, when you're working with people, when you start to come into more and more sensitivity, is that, you know, you can be reading people's subconscious, you can be reading their higher self aspect. There's all different facets and aspects of when you're interfacing with someone that you're picking up on. And depending on what your role is, especially if you are a healer or a light worker, to work with people, you know, it may be that that's something that you work with your clients to help them overcome those, because you can pick up on them, you can sense them, you can see them, and you can feel how uncomfortable that feels, and that's their uncomfortability in their skin. So yeah, hopefully that might help someone out there.
Yeah.
Donovan, where did you go? You turned back to light.
No, I'm here. It's all good. Just resetting things. No, I love what you're saying, Alisha, about, you know, in sessions, when you have sessions with people, I work with numbers with people, you work with energies, and it's all about, you were talking about fractals earlier, about, you know, basically bringing back to people their wholeness. And what you're actually activating within people is to love every part of themselves and trust every part of themselves. Isn't that funny? This has become about trust today.
I know, right?
With today's 2 codes, because that's, as I was saying, 2 rules, trust. So it's about loving yourself to such a level that you can understand and accept every single aspect of all that you are. And no matter what your story is, the worst possible thing you've done, you may make in your mind whatever you've had in your journey, the choices you've made, you can make it the most heinous crime, and you can stick yourself in a jail for the rest of your life, an emotional, a mental, and a spiritual jail. Or you can free yourself simply by loving yourself into the best version of yourself, and understanding that every decision you ever made in your life, you were doing the best you did at the time with what you knew. And that's a great excuse for learning to trust yourself, is to get you off the hook and say, hey, even if you are someone that's actually physically in a prison, like went to prison, right? And that's where they do a lot of inner work in a prison. Most of them come out rehabilitated in some way, because they've got all that time to sit and go within themselves. And they all end up coming out, or most of them end up coming out and going, if I knew better at the time, I would have done better. So it's a great excuse to learn to accept and love yourself that much, that no matter how bad you think you are, you're never as bad as you think you are. You're actually freaking amazing, truth be told. And that's the healing, is just simply in the acceptance of the self is the healing. You know, you go to a healer, but what they're doing is they're holding space for you to love and trust and accept yourself so much that you transform and you heal.
Embody that, yeah. Beautifully said, Don. Now, can we see your beautiful shining face, or the numbers that you're drawing?
Hang on.
Or can you put on a cat filter?
Oh man, that thing went viral big time. Oh, I loved it. I was rolling on the floor. For those that haven't seen it, there was a viral video of a guy turning up to his court case, and he had a cat filter on, and he had to say to the judge, "I'm serious. I'm here. I'm not a cat." He's like, "Yeah, I can see that." But you got to see it. People should see it. I'll send it to anyone that wants
it. Any additional thoughts, guys, while Donovan's sorting out his camera? Nick, Anna, trust, embodying.
I'm just recovering from how accurate that man was, or is. He's scary, huh? But I'm guessing the 22s have been a theme too. They were with the transmission you guys done and are going to do. So it'd be interesting to see how many people that watch this have had similar experiences.
Yeah, I guess a little interlude plug. The 2-2 transmission was all about partnership and, restoring balance in relationship. And, Donovan touched on it, and it was really powerful transmission, actually. I always say that before a transmission, I go through almost an alchemical process beforehand. Without a doubt, I will go through anywhere between 24 to 48 hours of energy embodiment and release work to hold the frequency of what needs to come through that transmission. And I went through a process of, how they talk about life review? I went through relationship review, and it was intense, and it was like 48 hours, and I probably cried uncontrollably for 12 of those hours. And I went into such a deep process of mourning and grief of deep, profound loves that I've had in my life, and how, some have transitioned, some, have gone across the veil, and others aren't in my life. But then at the core of that, how incredibly grateful I am that I've gone through this lifetime and had the opportunity to have such profound divine loves in my life that have made such an impact, that have made me who the person I am today. And how I'm going to move forward and carry that energy, and the partnership that I will move into the future will be highly rewarded because of all the, the other maybe not so great relationships, or the fast learning curves and all those things. So that transmission is really about to go through that purification of past experiences in relationships, whether it be this lifetime or others, because we have that accumulation. And then to sort of do that partnering energetic alignment through divine connection energetically with the person who kind of steps forward in that frequency match, who's going to take on the next part of that journey. So that was the 2-2. People can still sign up for the replay on that one. But coming up on the 22nd of February will be the shared soul mission transmission. And that one is going to be very much based around, whether it's a partnership in divine counterpart and their shared soul mission, and really activating and bringing that frequencies forward, or whether it's a larger, wider, soul tribe, soul mission. And it's because for me, that's what this year's about, is coming together, collaborating, whether it's, 2 people coming together, whether it's 4, we've got our crew here. So anyway, if you're interested in activating and working deeper with the energetic imprint of your soul mission, I'll put the details in the description box below. Shameless plug. Continue, Donovan.
These things are powerful, right?
That is, you've just blown me away, because you've just given me more of the code. I've got to go back. Hang on, wait, look. So, right, working from where we've come from to where we are. Okay, so we're coming back. So at first we were the light. That's what the 1 represents. All right, we were the light, and then we split into duality. Okay, so the 0 point, and then we split into masculine, feminine, and all is in balance, as I showed with, even just with our little example. Everything's always in balance, right? Or coming into balance. It's spinning. It's like a chakra, it's spinning. and you're just interacting from skepticism all the way to trust, and trust back to skepticism, and it's always moving and growing and expanding, right? But so we were the light, and we went into duality, and then we had to get a sense of what we'd become, masculine, feminine, and we'd split into duality, and we're like, what are we now, right? And then how do we access what we became and what we truly are? Relationships. It's through relationships that we expand and grow. And to me, I always feel like relationships is the point of incarnation.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
beautiful.
I don't really understand or see any other point for incarnation other than interacting with each other as reflections, but of our divinity back to ourselves through another.
Yeah.
So relationships, and what it reminded me of, just as you were talking, and I will mention it now. I won't say who I work for because I'm not allowed to, but I was at work the other day, and it suddenly occurred to me, when I do day shift and I pull into the bus interchange, right? There's an energy, you can feel it. There's people, there's presence, right? And then when you do night shift and everybody's left and there's no one there, you pull the bus up, you can feel the it's just like it's like a void, a space. There's no presence, there's no buzzing, tangible energy, because it's we bring that vibration to any place and space where we're interacting with each other, and that causes us change. It causes us to evolve and grow in our interactions, right? And removing bus, but it just occurred to me when I was doing my job, I'm just like, it's so weird that the difference in energy when there's people there and when there's not people there. That's kind of the point of life. It's how the presence of each other is the whole point of what we're here to do, to grow and expand. Is do you know what I mean?
100%. 100%.
It's all about relationship and relationships through time. I mean, what is a divine counterpart? It's someone who you've been with this soul before, in another form, in another life, with another name, another personality, another iteration of that soul, and you're re-meeting, you're re-coming together. So yeah.
Donovan, I guess that's like when you learn a lesson, I don't know, let's say from a past relationship, and you go through, I don't know, 2 or 3 years saying, I've learnt my lesson from that one, I've cleaned up that energy, but you don't really know until you go into another relationship. And the relationship, what are you laughing at, Alisha? And I get it, what you're saying. And I mean, not just in relationships, but even in a work environment or friendships.
You know what I always say? A lesson will always come back around. Like you may take a person out of your life, but they will show up. The same energy will show up with a different face and a different name until you've learned that lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And you don't even really know, and you can't really put what you've learned into practice unless you're in that situation again or in a relationship.
And it's so easy to go a solo journey and go, I'm good on my own.
Yes.
I'm so good.
Yeah, it's easy, right?
It's easy.
So easy.
It's easy.
Then you enter into a connection or a partnership, then you know self-mastery. Live with someone, then you know self-mastery.
100%. Like my sister, having had years and years of dealing with mental illness, right? She did a thing called DBT, which is what is it again? DBT. There's CBT and DBT. Cognitive behavior therapy is CBT, and what's DBT? I can't remember. It just escaped me. But anyway, and the practitioner she was working with at the time, well, the medical professional, he said, okay, so we've done all the healing work about, your childhood, and we've dived in, we've done all that. He said, if you're really going to grow and you're going to get to the best level of yourself, you're going to have to wait till you get into a relationship. That's when the work really begins. You know, just on that level. So yeah, you're right. And I remember when I first went on my spiritual path, all I wanted to do was sit alone and meditate all day and just not deal with the world. And I'm like, yeah, this is bliss. This is great. But then what's the benefit in that? Like, you know, the other part of what I'm saying, the point of existence is to grow and expand through relationships. You know, it's like the other point of existence for me, for incarnation, is to serve. We all have that innately, a human being, when it comes down to the core of it, like if you're in a situation where you witness a car accident or something, your natural instinct is to run and help.
Well, I think about Nick,
where
the incidences that he shared when, he's seen incidences. Yeah.
You know, that natural human instinct is to want to serve, to give, to help. And I think that's why when you do choose to go on this path of becoming the best version of who you are in this incarnation and to get into relationships, you're actually serving, because by you growing and expanding in your relationships, you're then becoming the example to show someone else and mirror back to them what they're capable of doing, you know? And it doesn't mean you're going to get it right. You might get it wrong, really. But that's also
what you said
because...
What was that, Anna?
It's like what you said before, Donovan, you know, it's one step forward, two steps back in relationships, or any relationships. I don't just mean intimate ones, but yeah, you learn something, you go out there, then you come back in again, because I find it's quite harsh, you know, putting things into practice, and being of service can sometimes drain you. So you got to go two steps back, recover, go back out again.
Yeah, I almost want to, as some of you might know, I'm in the depths of writing a whole heap of new work around divine partnerships, soul connections, and archetypes of them. And I do a whole intro talking about the whole purpose of it. And, you know, if you're familiar with my work, you know, I always talk about this 5-dimensional relationship template. And that's so important. I believe it's one of the most important fundamental foundations of this planetary shift that we're going into is harmonious, collaborative, supportive relationships to move out of this cycle of codependency and toxicity and all the wonderful things that I'm sure we've all experienced along the line, you know. It's able to get into mutual respect and understanding partnerships where the forefront of that coming together is because you hold that common bond of wanting to serve humanity together. And then through that becoming the way shower just in your own uniqueness to show people that that is possible, you know, that there is harmony. It doesn't mean perfect. It does not mean perfect relationship whatsoever, but it means that it's serving a higher good together through that. And, you know, and I think that is the way that we're pathing into going into this new era, into this shift, is everything has to be changed. It's not just government, it's not just, you know, political and, you know, transportation and money. It's every level of that. And that's where divine soul counterparts, whatever name you want to call it, comes into play, because it's the fundamental aspect of interpersonal relationships that's being overhauled through that.
Perfectly said.
Can I just put the mic down now? I'm done.
Perfectly expressed.
Mic drop.
Yeah, I'm just trying to charge my phone, but it's not charging.
God, you know what?
Yeah, it's funny,
we set out on such a different tangent, and I don't know how we got here, but obviously we got here because it's important. And I always thought that February was the month of the overhaul of relationships to set the tone for this year and beyond. So maybe that's why we're here.
I've got a question about that, actually, Alisha. In terms of what were the words you used about the relationships of being of service? Does that necessarily have to be like a long-term situation, or can that be short term as well until it serves its purpose and then you move forward? Or
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. I mean, it's going to be individual to each couple, isn't it? And that's sort of what I get at in the material that I'm writing, is that it's really about understanding and knowing your own soul contracts. I hate that word, agreements. That's a better word. Agreements. Because for some people, that's going to be a lifelong partnership and service together. And for other people, it's going to be a shorter thing, and then it's done. It's not one size fits all. It can't be determined. I think for majority, it is coming into partnership now with that person that will take them through that journey. But that's not going to stand for everyone.
Can't wait till you finish that. Read
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm not even halfway through the first article and it's almost 8 pages long. So I don't know. I have to
chop brush, eh?
Well, you got 5 days in lockdown. You should be right.
Well, this is true. I'm just going to bury my head into it and I look forward to that. Actually, I'm trying to get it up now to see if I can. No, I won't. I'm not going to give anything until it's done.
No.
But yeah, I'm excited about this because you know what, I've been doing this work very reluctantly, may I say. I never wanted to do this work. I got coerced into it by the universe because they were saying, if you don't do this work, we're basically not going to give you an income. And it was a real internal fight with me because, in my opinion, when you look at the twin flame community, a lot is commercialized, a lot is squeezing people out of their money and approaching people in their suffering and vulnerability, and I hate that. I don't like that at all. I take a lot of pride in my work, and so I didn't really want to go in there. Like I was like, oh, let me just do soul readings and energy healings, and I, obviously because of my unique journey about New Earth children and all that, they were like, you have to do it because that is part of your path. You can't not do it, and I fought it for a good year until I actually got this. I went through this process of surrender and I was like, all right, I'll do it. Normally it's me arguing at night with my team. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm a bit stubborn like that. I get back right into a corner. And I said, okay, I give up. I'll do it. I'll do whatever you want me to do. And in that process of surrender, the floodgates literally opened for me, for my work and financially. And I never really looked back. And funnily enough, I'm going through a similar, not as bad, but a similar phase that I have to write these articles and get this new work out there because nothing else is going to work. And I've been trying to go down different avenues. I'm going to try to do this and do that. And it's like, you have to do this as priority. So I've been given a deadline. So I'm excited for it. I feel like I have been observing these trends and this information for about 3 years now, and I've never published anything on my own internal musings. It's something that I share with clients or close friends, but to put it out there, I think it's going to kind of take people to the next level of consciousness in understanding these. So I'm excited. Maybe no one else is, maybe no one cares, but I'm excited.
Can you imagine what the comment section's about to look like? You're going to have hordes of people demanding this now. Yeah.
Well, I don't even know. I think that, so. And this is all based on my own personal experience. And when I look at it in all the archetypes, I've experienced one of every kind. And I couldn't write this until I had gone through that process. So yeah, anyway, exciting times, partnerships, 2021.
Yeah. And you mentioned
watch this space.
February, you're like, I can feel it now with February and relationships. February is the second month. That's 2, right? The word February resonates to the number 42, which apparently, according to Monty Python, is the meaning of life. 42, which equals 6. 6 rules love, relationships, and children and family, and all types of relationships. So it does make sense that it's hitting now, plus in the month of Valentine's Day, which is in 2 days.
Yeah. Actually, can I share something? I'm not sure. I had a dream a couple of weeks back, and it was one of my kind of like what I call like new earth dreams. And I was literally in a candy store. Remember Jazz Lollies? Do you guys remember Jazz Lollies? Where you go, you get the bag, and so I was in one of those, and I went in, and then as I go in, I always have these dreams with this high technology, like glass pads, smart pads. I'm always sort of working with different technology, which is really cool because I know that that's what's coming. And anyway, I went to the next. There was, so first get your lollies, and the second thing was like this, almost like a touch screen, and I had on my phone, and I had to choose an app, and the app was a GPS app because I was going on a trip. And I swiped the app from the touchscreen onto my phone, and it automatically put a dating app on my phone. Right? And I was like, okay. And it automatically said, you have one match. And then it took someone, like, it was like the bobbleheads, and it brought it together, and it said, our algorithms say that you have common interests such as Donald Trump. Congratulations.
That's so cool. Oh my God.
Congratulations, you have won a voucher for the 14th of February. So that was a dream I had about 3 weeks ago. So I've kind of been keenly, I kind of look more at the dates of things like that, but I've been keenly kind of watching what's going to be on the 14th of February.
Well, we're in lockdown.
So no dating, unless it's virtual.
Lots of babies being made in lockdown.
Well,
I think I'm going to go visit my intimate partner, Alisha, and have some Mexican.
We make good intimate partners during lockdown, don't we, Anna?
Yeah.
We really do. And if, my pregnant girlfriend, we're just getting some dinner. Interracial, lesbian, we're covering things.
Oh, goodness. Sorry, how did we get on this tangent? Where are we? But then we come out of lockdown as of Wednesday, and then we're going to have our Vitraya Meet-Up, which is, Anna, do you want to talk a little bit more about the meet-up?
Yeah, sure. So basically, Vitraya was started last year during the first lockdown. Seeing someone I care deeply about. What are you laughing at?
No, I'm just thinking, like, how's that? Like, it's started in lockdown, now we're in lockdown again, and it's the start of, that's cool.
Yeah. So basically, seeing someone I care deeply about going through a dark night of the soul, and you can't be everyone's savior, and have to go through it themselves. But I think the hardest part was not having friends or family that can support you when you're going through that change, because they don't understand. So that's kind of how Vitraya started. So basically, it's just a gathering of people going through Ascension, awakening in different stages, by the way. I have spoken to 2 people this week that thought, oh, I'm not at that level. I'm like, what level is that? No, there are levels, but it's all levels if you're new to awakening Ascension. And then you've got some people that are, widely exposed and experienced, like Alisha, I guess, growing up, being so awake and aware of different things about Ascension. So it's definitely for everyone, different stages of their awakening and Ascension. And I have to point it out, I know awakening and Ascension, Alisha has do you want to explain?
Yeah, I always kind of correct this because I have my own interpretation that I think that awakening and Ascension are 2 different things, or 2 different stages, shall I say. Awakening is when you start to become aware on an intellectual level about corruption, about the deep state and the tyranny that goes on, and you become awake and aware to different things. That's that's becoming awake. It's more of an intellectual based, knowledge based. And then you start to experiment, and you might meditate, or you might do yoga, or you might get involved in some sort of practice to better yourself. But I see that there's a distinct point when the awakening then leads into the ascension path. And to me, that is when you go through something like a Kundalini awakening, a near-death experience, you hit a dark night of the soul, you have an accident, you have a massive relationship breakdown, you lose your money, you lose your house, you lose your job, and you hit what I call the ascension point, which is where everything in your life gets turned upside down, and everything that you held on to in a third dimensional sense starts to get ripped from out beneath you. And that's when you go through that process of being deconstructed to then rebuild in your truest version, authentic self, and what you're truly here to do. And so I think that most people have hit their ascension point if they're watching this at some degree. And you know what, it's not just, sometimes it's not just one point, you know, it can be a series of those points. But I see the ascension journey as more of an energetical embodiment. So it's when you start to physically shed those layers of your fears and the things that have held you back, and you start to go into that sort of deeper dive process of understanding self and becoming the best version of yourself. And that's when you start to tap into the waves of energies and the ascension symptoms, and start, you know, telepathically connecting with galactic, whatever it is going to look different. But that's my distinct, you know, so awakening is more of a knowledge-based information, and ascension becomes more spiritual, energetic.
I love it. Interestingly,
It's a little salute.
Interestingly.
Oh gosh.
Oh, of course it is. Look at that. Holy
so interesting. Hey,
I
is that
can't read
sideways?
it. Can you turn it around?
Oh, was it sideways? Sorry.
Oh,
look
So
at
we
that,
get a double
Anna.
19 vibration. And the thing about both awakening and ascension, it's getting to a level of maturity, because the 9 represents, you know, all that you've learned along your journey and the culmination of all those experiences and knowledge. It's hitting a level of maturity. So both, like you said, Alisha, knowledge-wise and then spiritually wise, you're hitting a new vibration. They both got the change, yeah. So we got the 555 in awaken and the 55, and culminating in 1919. And I actually shared with you, didn't I, Anna, the post I'd written about 1919. I had something come through a couple of years ago about that code, which you can also see is 1010 as well. It's contained within it. So again, if you're receiving the 1010 code, you need to listen to what both Alisha and Anna just said. It's really important. That's a message for you. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I keep doing that, but
no, please do that.
Does anyone else feel really hot every time Donovan talks about numbers?
My fan switched off about 40 minutes ago, so I'm just hot altogether.
I'm so hot. Every time Donovan talks, I feel this heat.
Yeah.
And then I know my eyes are going funny, but we're recording, so I'm like, don't wig out. Don't Turn face on.
I thought it was just me, but I'm sitting here and I'm like,
and it's not hot in Melbourne right now, by the way.
No, it's not.
Oh, wow.
Mild and sweating buckets. Thanks, Donovan.
Thank you,
I
Donovan.
don't know what that is, but anyway, thank you.
It's being a divine channel. That is what you are. That is what you bring, and that's what we love you for. Thank you, Donovan.
Thank you. Oh, love you guys.
Guys,
I love you, Donovan.
we've been going for a bit, so I think we might kind of wrap it up there. There's been some beautiful, what an amazing conversation. I can't even thank you guys enough for being here and sharing your energy and sharing your insights. And goodness, where to go from here? Final thoughts, anyone, before we close up? my final thoughts are, don't forget to sign up to the 222 transmission, which will be down in the description box below. And if you are going to be in Melbourne and you want to come join us on Saturday, the 20th, between 1 and 4, for the meetup, I'll put the details where you can contact Ana and register your place there. And look forward to seeing you all. That's it.
And I'm devastated. I can't be there, but all in divine timing. All in divine timing.
Well, we were just talking off camera, weren't we, that maybe we might road trip it and do the next meetup in New South Wales. And we'll take it to the road, hopefully throughout this year as best we can, and coordinate. So if you're not in Melbourne, you're not in Victoria, don't despair. You know, we do intend somehow to get to other states. And I actually have been heavily thinking today that I would like to do virtual meetups, roundtable meetups or webinars. So, you know, maybe coming into March, I might start putting them together. So if you're keen on that, you know, drop a comment, and we'll get that in motion too for those who aren't in Australia. Yeah, beautiful. Let's do it. That'll be great. Put a comment in the comments section. Sorry, if you want to learn number vibrational from Donovan, put a comment in there and we'll make that happen. How's that for putting you on the spot, Donovan? Yeah, no, that's good, because I'm getting very pulled to get serious and focus more in on that work and stop watching impeachment videos and you can do both. Just have multiple screens going. Oh man, it's so all-consuming because I'm so passionate about that stuff and watching it unfold. There's something in me, I don't know whether it's a past life I was in courts of law or I was a politician of some sort or something. I mean, no doubt we've all been that, but I'm so passionate and I've got to watch it because I get really out of balance, you know. And when that all goes aside, I always get drawn back into my true divine mission, my work, you know. So if people do want to have a session or something, just let me know. And it's good for me. I need to be doing it. It keeps me highly focused. Recommend. I mean, Donovan's done many number sessions. I mean, they're just absolutely, not only are they amazing and incredible, but they're highly activating too. Yeah. So and I always put the details of how to get in contact with Donovan down in the description box. So if you feel called to that, please do that. Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. And if my Facebook goes down, I'll have to create something new because I don't really have anything else. I'm really behind with that stuff. So I'm sure, Nick, you're going to be able to help me with some of that. We'll figure it out. When the time comes. Yeah. But yeah, my final words are just simply, you know, see that code, that vibration of the point we're at now, and understand that, you know, if things have been going a certain way, they're about to flip for the better. And, you know, we have to have that total trust and understanding and knowing that everything's actually getting better. It is. It's like the amazingness that's coming to this planet is you can't even get your infinite self around it. It's like, you can't. It's magnificent. It is absolutely magnificent. And I wonder if that's why I keep getting these waves of like, I'm so restless and excited because something amazing is coming. I said it to Alisha today. I was like hyper again about it. Something amazing's coming. And then we go into lockdown. I was like, still something amazing's coming. It's okay. Right. Because it's the overriding energies and like it's the different timelines that are playing out. That's how I see it. And if you tapped into that, you know that everything's working out. Perfect alignment. And just stay connected to that no matter what, you know. It doesn't mean to disregard what's happening on the other timeline. They're both playing out, but stay connected to that higher one as well. Yeah. And I think if you've got loved ones who are going through the thick of it as well right now, you know, hold space for them in that higher timeline as well. You know, that's something that I've been doing, is like keeping in mind the people that I know that are sort of going through the trenches, going through what they need to, but just like holding that space for them and knowing that they have a beautiful place in that higher timeline as they transition and transcend out of that gunk.
Yeah, the other vibrational template that's actually falling apart. And we've known for so long that this was coming, and the new template has been cosmically in place, ready to be activated, and it's us, we're the ones doing it, so we should be really proud of ourselves, where we as a race of beings have gotten to for what we've created. Quantumly, we've already created for ourselves. That's coming because that's what we inherently want, therefore we've created it, so there's nothing to be worried about, because you've actually, anything you can imagine that you want the world to look like and be, by having that, you've actually created it. That's quantum. So that, rest easy, and if you can't sleep, just know that's just excitement, like Ana said.
Well, there's a fine line between anxiety and anticipation, isn't there? It's a very similar sensation in the body. So cool. Thank you, Donovan. Thank you. Nick, Ana, final thoughts, final words?
Just on the Vitraya meetup again, if you're watching this and think, oh, I'm not at that level, I can't join in, there is no level.
Yes.
That's what it's for, actually, is to just create community for people. So that you're not crazy, you're not on your own. So just come.
Yeah, we embrace you all with welcome, open arms. Well, thanks. Thanks, Ana. And Nick.
And I'll add to that by saying, if there is a level, which as we've cleared up, there's not, I'm at the bottom. So don't worry, you're not down there. So please come along and help me, because I need you.
Yeah. I love how Nick makes humor of everything, because I get Nick's humor because I can feel Nick as well.
Yeah.
So I find it even funnier than
Well, I'm super excited.
It's so humbly gorgeous. This is why I love you guys, right? Because I see a lot of other spiritual roundtables and stuff, right? And then people get left going, oh, I can't be that amazing. I don't understand. I don't see it. I don't know, all this, it's, and I love how you keep bringing that message home, Nick. It's like, hey, you're you, I'm me. Wherever you're at is exactly perfect. Like, there's no level. Just come hang out. We love you. We're just, you're only going to get loved. If you come into our presence, there's only one thing you're going to do, and that's be loved and accepted. That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Nick. And I'm so excited to finally get to meet you in person. I mean, this has been in progress. And
you guys even real?
Yeah, wow. Just a hologram in your reality.
My kids often say that, actually. My kids are always saying, are these people even real?
I swear.
I remember when I met Jen for the first time, just over 12 months ago, and she got off the plane. It was weird because I felt like I knew her so well, but in person. And so we just stared at each other for a little while, and we were like, and then we sort of touched each other. We're like, yeah, you're real. So I might be staring at you, Nick. I might be tapped on the shoulder.
Yeah, it looks odd in real life. Yeah.
I'm going to say it on recording, actually, Nick. You did say you're going to come barefoot hiking with me. So
100%.
You got to
without a doubt. Done deal. Yeah. Hold me to that.
Awesome.
2 hours.
Well,
Happening.
I'll leave you guys to
3.
that one. I won't be there.
That's awesome.
Done.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope that you've gained something from this. And if time permits, I fully intend to try and do another roundtable when some of us are together. That sort of is in the pipeline, but we may get around to just having too much fun, and I won't promise, but we will try. And yeah, all the details in the description box below to connect with all of us. And yeah, until next one, we'll see you next time, and just sending much love to everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Leish.
Love you all. Bye.
Bye.